Dr. Z, on today's edition of the Thrive Time Show, we are interviewing a man who was once a drug lord.
A what?
A drug lord, a lord of drugs.
Wow.
Herman Mendoza joins us to share how he went from being a drug lord to being a minister. See, this is a great success story, a story of a guy turning his life all around.
Redemption.
It's a redemption story, and I'm excited for you to hear it on today's edition of the Thrive Time Show on your radio and podcast download. Oh, that's not the intro music. That's our pre-show meditation music.
That is.
My bad. Here we go. And 3, 2, 1, and
get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
We started from the bottom, now we're on the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm a dive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the C and Z up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to
Yes, and yes, Thrive Nation, we are in the air everywhere, and Dr. Z, it is always ecstasy when you are next to me, and I wanted to.
Right back at ye.
You know, sir, we wanted to have a guy on the show. We said, you know, it's important when you rhyme, people think it's more true. You know, when you rhyme all the time, people go, "Oh, I'm going to write that down."
It works for rap.
Aaron, you've seen this before. Good speakers rhyme.
Oh yeah, they do.
And
Definitely.
for several days, I've been saying, we've got to get a guy on the show. We have to get a guy on the show whose profession is his former profession is illegal.
Yes.
We need to have a guest whose former profession was illegal like a sick bird, like a bird that is ill and illegal. And we need to have a guest on the show whose profession is both illegal, but it needs to rhyme with my favorite word, pug board.
A pug board. I didn't know that was your. Is that a new favorite word?
Yeah, it's a new one.
Okay.
And so we thought, we're going, well, what rhymes with pug board? And we thought, drug lord.
It sure does. So do
on
we know a guy like that?
So on today's show, we're going to interview a former drug lord, and then we might talk about what a pug board actually is, if we have time.
If we have time.
I
sure
time.
hope we do.
Herman Mendoza, welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
I am doing fine. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, I got to ask you this. You have an incredible accent. Is that part of the drug lord game? Is this part of your disguise? Is this fakery?
It's not disguise. I'm originally from New York, but my parents are from the Dominican Republic, and so I have the New York accent.
Okay. Now you've written this new book called Shifting Shadows: How a New York Drug Lord Found Freedom in the Last Place He Expected. But what was your life like growing up? I mean, did you come from a long line of drug lords, or what was your life like growing up as a kid?
No. Actually, my parents they moved from the Dominican Republic to America, seeking the American dream of prosperity and freedoms. And they had 5 boys. So I was brought up with other siblings were all men, boys in the house. I'm the youngest of 5 brothers, and so at that time in the early 70s, gang was so prevalent in society, and I got sort of entangled with that web of gang lifestyle, and that kind of led me down to a path of destruction, pretty much.
How did you first get involved in selling drugs, or what age were you?
I was around 14 years of age,
Wow.
and it pretty much started with me consuming drugs, narcotics. I started off with marijuana, then eventually went to hardcore drugs like cocaine, and then I wanted to sustain the habit, and I was selling drugs in a street corner. Eventually was arrested not for drugs, but for committing a robbery, stealing someone's radio of a vehicle, and to sustain the habit. And I was sent to juvenile detention center, and there, once I was released, tried to straighten my act out. And right after high school, my brothers were involved in heavy sales of narcotics, and I got involved with them, and eventually was involved with a cartel out of Colombia, and was distributing over hundreds of kilos of cocaine.
I don't know a lot, and I don't mean to make light of your situation. I think I mean to make light of life if I can. That's what I try to do. But what is the org chart of the Drug Lord game? I mean, do you start off as as a guy,
a mule? Where's a mule?
Yeah, where does a mule fit in? Are you
a
the
runner?
Who's the runner? Who's the brown bag guy? When does Sneaks come into the picture? A guy by the name of Sneaks.
When do they have you swallow balloons?
I mean,
we need
walk us through. How does one become a drug
balloon
lord?
boy? Yeah.
Yeah, well, in my case, it was totally different. I was involved with the cartel because of a connection that my brothers had, and eventually they connected me to the courier or the drug mule. In this case, this particular drug mule was transporting hundreds and hundreds of kilos of cocaine. And so when I first got involved,
that's a lot
I
of
witnessed over $1.2 million in cash. And then I was just totally hooked into this particular enterprise and this business. And I started to learn more about the distribution. And then eventually was distributing all across the Eastern Seaboard and climbed up, if you will, the drug lord ladder and started to meet like key players in the distribution from Colombia to the United States. Wow. And that's how I really got fully involved in this particular cartel.
I know, Herman, I don't want to one-up you, Z. We never want to do that.
No, we
Sometimes
try
it
not
happens.
to.
These are impressive stories.
Organically, it happens.
And James, you've heard these stories. They're impressive stories here.
Organically.
Oh, yeah. But when I was in high school, I got mixed up, Z, in this group. What we would do is we'd go
you
on.
Going there?
Well, that's the statute of limitations. The statute of limitations. James, if you throw eggs at somebody, how long until we're past the statute of limitations?
Well, I guess it depends on the state. We'll have to look it up. But
so let's just say this. Friends of mine and we would go on top of these buildings in my town because my town had one stoplight and nothing to do.
Yeah. And lots of eggs.
And so we'd get up there.
Lots of eggs.
And it was always hilarious. We're like, here's the deal. I need you. Listen here. I need you to buy the eggs. It's like Thursday we're talking. Dude, you buy the eggs. Well, don't buy too many, though, because people will know.
We're the egg guys.
Yeah, so I want you to buy just a little bit of eggs. But on Tuesday, buy on Tuesday. Thursday, you buy your eggs. We'll meet. We're going to meet up at like 3 a.m. We're going on top of the building. And then we'll all meet up there. Nobody talk about it. And when we get up there, cars will drive by. We're going to throw the eggs. And we will do this because we have to.
Because we have
so
nothing else to do.
We would do this, and it became more and more exciting, and it was a bigger and bigger thing. And then people at school would talk about, like, dude, did you hear about those egg guys?
So you were an egg lord?
I was the egg lord.
Oh. You were the egg lord.
And let me tell you how I knew it was time to get out. It's when it spun out of control, and we ended up riding Brett Favre sucks into a man's lawn with a lawnmower down shaving his lawn, immaculate lawn. And we shaved it down. See, you know how like the juniors hate the seniors hate the juniors?
Oh, yeah.
One of those high school class wars. And we're like, so we put flour in the vents of a man's car who is the father of one of these kids. You know?
Oh, my gosh.
He's a professional man that dresses nice. He puts the keys in the ignition. The flour comes all over him. We wrote Brett Favre sucks because they love the Packers on his lawn.
Oh, yeah.
Immaculate lawn.
How big was that lawn?
It was a massive lawn. It was a massive lawn. I'll just tell you, pretty soon it's like at school, everyone's talking like, dude, these guys are out of control. They're
a gang. They're a gang.
And that's what we did. And I realized I got to get out of this. I got to get out. The upside isn't good. The hours aren't good. The risk, it's all not good.
The payment's not good.
Yeah.
Quit the game.
But I mean, but when I got out, there was zero pressure to stay in because it was just something dumb.
Yeah.
So, but I'm sure when you're in the drug game, there's a certain point where you wanted to get out, but it's kind of hard to get out at that point. You know, it's probably harder than the egg game. So when did you decide to get out? How did you get out?
Well, basically, I didn't get out until I got arrested. But my first arrest was with 32 kilos of cocaine. It was out on the mainstream media here in New York City. Mayor Giuliani was the mayor at the time, and I was confronting 25 years according to the charges. We hired the best attorneys here in New York City. I pleaded my case. I got 3 to 9 years of incarceration, and then eventually signed up to this program called Shock. It's pretty much sort of like a military fashion style prison where you can either do hard time or take up this Shock program, and your time will be reduced. So I took the Shock program, And I remember when I arrived to this facility, I said, and I went into a chapel, and I made this prayer. I said, God, if you're for real, get me out of my situation. I want to, be back home with my family. I had one child at the time. So I made this promise. I said, if you allow me to be free from this prison, I promise you I'm not going to drink alcohol for 6 months. It was ignorance on my part. I eventually finished the program, was released, and 6 months passed. I decided to celebrate of my sobriety and go into to this restaurant, bar setting, and had a drink. And lo and behold, I ran into an old acquaintance, and he was controlling over a ton of cocaine. And as the scripture says in Proverbs 26:11, a dog returns to its vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. I went right back into this world of narcotics and distribution, and got involved once again with this cartel, and started to distribute hundreds of kilos of cocaine, hanging out with different celebrities and rappers, and spending thousands and thousands of dollars. I thought I was on top of the world, and again, engaging in this illegal activity. One of my brothers was also involved. He got arrested. We bailed him out, and one of his contacts was working with the DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency, and we gave some narcotics to him. We gave him about 9 kilos of cocaine, had us recorded on devices, and I got rearrested now on a federal indictment. Got out on bail, $500,000, and didn't know what to do. My life was distraught, thinking how I'm going to get out of this situation. I was thinking about leaving the country, but eventually got rearrested after I jumped bail for the second time. Case, and was arrested. But my brother, they didn't give him bail. He surrendered his life to Christ, and he prayed for me that I would surrender my life to Christ because he was afraid that they were going to kill me out in society. And lo and behold, that's what God did. God allowed for me to get rearrested, sent to the same facility my brother was at, and there is when he preached the gospel and shared hope with me, and my life was forever changed.
Proverbs 26:11 reads, "A dog returneth to his vomit, so a fool returneth to his folly."
Yep.
That's gross, but true.
It is true.
And now so many people don't have a happy ending, but you do. And I'd like to give you an opportunity to share what inspired you to write this book, and what are you hoping to share with the listeners during today's interview?
Of course, the book is not just mainly on a guy that, came out of the drug world and, found Jesus, but it's more about obviously the transforming power of God, that God can change a life. It doesn't matter what situation you may find yourself in, whether you have marital problems, whether you're dealing with addictions, God can turn your life around. That's what he did with me. Now my friends are state Supreme Court justices, law enforcement officers at work on behalf of the police department in New York City. I'm a chaplain. I've ministered to NBA players, Major League Baseball players. I'm a part of a global movement called dubbed the 414 Window, reaching children and youth. And so I wanted to, write this book to really capture the minds and hearts of people, that it doesn't matter, how far you've gone in your sin. If you call on the name of Jesus, God can turn a life around and give you purpose and meaning. And that's what he's done with me. And it's an incredible story.
Z, I'm going to open it up for kind of a little town hall, kind of a rapid fire Q&A here. Aaron, you, before running Oklahoma's largest home building company, and certainly, Z, the largest home building company in the studio here, Aaron, you had sort of were you an alcoholic? Is that how you describe it?
I would say an alcoholic drug addict, yeah.
Oh, the combo.
Yeah.
Kind of the up
Tried
and the down.
Yes.
The up and the down arrow. Okay, I get it.
Yep.
So you wanted to get all hyped up, get all high, and then also mellow out.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that's now. So you can relate to what he's talking about.
I can definitely relate.
What question would you have for Herman?
So Herman, obviously you had a moment that changed things, but there's also a path after the moment, because you were in a place where you were locked up at the time. You were locked up in the same facility as your brother, But then there was a path where you went from living in one world to living in a different world, and you obviously had to make some personal changes and stuff. Tell me about what that looked like over the next little bit. Now you're a chaplain, as you mentioned. Like, what was the path that brought you there?
Yeah, it's really interesting because this has been over 25 years when I was incarcerated, and I'm an associate pastor now. But when I was released from prison, and I spent, close to 5 years in incarceration, which I should have gotten 25 years. That's another miracle, and I explained that in the book. And so when I was released, again, it's a different situation because when you're out in society, you sort of have to integrate and acclimate into, the culture of society. And so God just opened some tremendous doors. And obviously, temptation was there. I could have digressed, or returned back to my old behaviors and engage in the old sinful nature. But I chose to follow Jesus. And thank God I had help from my local church that I was attending at the time. And also in prison, I read lots of books, so I learned about law, and I was working for my attorneys. And so interesting, when I was released, I was working for my attorneys. So I was, I had a job and I was making money. And so I realized, following Christ was the best decision that one can make. And things were really clear for me in terms of my purpose and my calling in life. And I realized that the millions of dollars that I've had before, the woman, the party life, all of those things were just empty and void. And when I experienced Jesus, I didn't need those things to fulfill my life. And so it was a spiritual transformation. It was just a change of heart and a change of mind and a different perspective. And so that's what happened to me. And ever since then, since I gave my life to the Lord, I've never looked back.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
See,
Hey, Herman, I had a quick question for you, and that is Powerhouse Kids, the ministry that you're director of. What do you do? I mean, you guys
rip
you
phone
pumping them
books?
up? I
Or
mean,
you-
your
is it a
Powerhouse is like
Powerhouse,
weightlifting
we're gonna
for
do-
small children. Is
Pump
it
it up.
okay, kids? Today we're going to pump up. I mean, what do you do there?
All right, this is what we do. We have around 600 children that come every Saturday. And so these are community kids. Some are from affluent communities, and some are from marginalized communities. And so what we do is we train them from the ages of 4 to 14.
I knew it. Wait.
And we tap into their gifts and their talents. And we teach them different skills. For example, piano. We teach them how to play the piano, guitar, pottery, coding classes, math. And so they learn a skill 3 hours every Saturday. And also we share the gospel with them. It's been such a success that the parents are saying, hey, I've been working with my children, and they never wanted to listen to me before. And now that they're attending Powerhouse, they're listening, they're doing their homework. They're telling me, Mom, Dad, let's pray before a meal. What is happening here? So we developed a program for them as well, for the parents. And it's called, parenting classes that we have. We teach them about parenting skills, to be aware if their child is involved with gangs or drugs, and how to interact with them. And so this has been a success. So once they reach the age of 15, they come back to the ministry, back to the program of Powerhouse, and they become the leaders of Powerhouse, where they teach the same model and teachings that we were teaching them, and now they become the teachers. So it's been a very successful run with these young people.
Now, Herman, your book, again, is called Shifting Shadows, How a New York Drug Lord Found Freedom in the Last Place He Expected It. I encourage everybody out there, I mean, if you are in a cycle of addiction of any kind at all, and a destructive addiction, don't say, I'm addicted to success and working out, and so that's, I'm talking about, I mean, if you're being honest about it, you're going, is there an area of your life where you're kind of stuck in that doom loop, that cycle, whatever it is? I would encourage you to check out this book, because sometimes, and see, I'm sure you found this to be true, when you read a book about somebody who really had it bad,
Right.
sometimes you start off by going, wow, that was crazy.
That
But then
was
as you
crazy.
read it, you start to go, I could kind of relate to that. And then, and there's something cathartic and something very powerful about reading a book and learning as a result of somebody who's willing to put themselves out there and to share their mistakes. And I just appreciate you, Herman, for being bold and sharing the truth, my friend. Thank you for being on today's edition of the Thrive Time Show.
Well, thank you for having me. I do appreciate this time.
Hey, before we let you go, I'm going to give you the mic. This is for kind of the drop the mic moment.
Just drop it.
What is the final thing you want to share with our listeners from coast to coast?
Yeah, so basically I want them to get a copy of this book, Shifting Shadows. Again, if they're dealing with any kinds of addictions or any issues at home, marital problems, perhaps their son or daughter is dealing with any personal issues, I believe that this book can really impact their lives if they put their trust in Jesus. Jesus is the answer and the solution of all of our troubles, and I hope that they'll put their faith and trust in Christ.
Brother, you are a great American. Thank you so much for sharing the truth, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Well done.
Thank you.
And now, without any further ado, 3,